Hello, family. Happy New Year again. This is Mary Ann. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing good. Today, I'm gonna share some information about comparing life in living in Kenya or Africa and living in America. I've been in America for almost 20 years, and I lived in Kenya since I was born, and I've been around the sun several decades. So I do have a good experience about living in both continents. And this is dedicated to my Black brothers and sisters, especially living in the diaspora, who might want to go back home to the continent and who might want to know what differences there is, at least some small differences and advantages and disadvantages. I really will want to build on this topic as I build my channel and as I build my following. But I want my followers to be able to know where I'm coming from, to have a foundation of who I am, what I believe in, and also to expose you to things that you may have overlooked. There are some topics that I will generally not cover, especially politics and the negative side of my country, because other YouTubers are already doing that, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. There's one YouTuber I like to follow. His name, his channel is Go Black to Africa, and it's Go Black to the number 2 Africa, one word. And he does cover several countries. I think he has been to 13 countries. He is African American. So his point of view is based on somebody who is moving from America to Africa. And I would recommend that you follow people like this because they have an outsider's view of the continent before they go there and after they go there. And they can be able to give you a good experience that you might be able to build on. Now, you may also want to follow the locals. And one local is African Traveler. He does cover the local areas of Kenya. He does a lot of drone shots of different cities. So he will give you a good eye view or bird's eye view of many cities and also introduce you to the culture, food, housing, and stuff like that. So it's good to find an African American covering the country and also a local. I'm based in America right now, but I will be going home, and I want to take you with me once I start traveling back home. For right now, I will do my best to give you an introduction of my country. And because I've lived in both continents for quite an extended period of time, I do have a good idea of what you might be wanting to know. The reason I did this channel today, I was listening to a Clubhouse conversation that Dr. Umar Johnson was hosting, and I really would recommend that you go follow him. He's a teacher. He's a doctor in psychology. So he does ask very, very good questions, and he invites other people to participate in the conversations. And it's very interesting to know he has a very big following. So it's very interesting to listen to conversations from all over the world, from all over nationalities. His following is mainly our people, Black community. So if they are biracial or mixed race, from whichever continent there is, you can hear people's perspective as they discuss, and that can also give you more information. It can educate you and also enlighten you on what is going on in other parts of the world. And he's very respectful, asks very good questions. So I would really encourage you all to follow him. And he was discussing many topics during Kwanzaa, and I found that very, very informative. So I'm gonna made some notes to myself as I listen to the conversation, and I will be able to highlight some of the things that I think you may want to know. Okay, let's talk about child support. Child support has been a bottleneck, especially to the black men, because when they have children with the women here, they are tied to the system. And most of them have gone to jail over child support. And I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, especially if you live in the US. So in Africa, in Kenya, let me talk about Kenya myself. And I'm asking, first of all, your permission to be real. Okay? So I'm asking your permission to call it as it is and to keep it 100. Is that okay? Because I don't believe that you can learn anything when somebody is trying to sugarcoat things or, put a curtain behind things, because then you'll never learn. And then what happens is when you go, you find the situation is different, and then either you're disappointed or you're frustrated or you feel cheated. So it's only fair that people that are giving you information, especially YouTubers, to keep it 100. And that is why I like Go Black to Africa, because he's honest. He tells it as it is. If it's something he doesn't like, he will say it. So I'm going to give you my real, okay? So in Kenya particularly, we don't have child support, okay? So I'm not aware that the court system has upgraded itself to take care of this issue, but when a woman has a child, men will either support, and if they don't support, the woman takes care of the child, and we have a very good extended family system that helps out with the children. So one thing I like about our country is that you don't find children being rejected, rejected as in they don't have a place to go. We do have some street children who have been born maybe in the slums, or they have fallen into, through the cracks. But generally, most extended family will take up children if a young mother is not able to take care of the child. So we take up their load, and if the man is, hopefully the man will help, they do. And most of the time they will involve the elders, to make sure that the right thing has been done for the sake of this child and the mother. So we all know that the men in this country especially have struggled, and sometimes I think it's because they fell into a system that doesn't really favor the black race. We all know that. So because they have to be part of the system, then it's unfortunate that most of them have to live their lives paying child support, and sometimes the moms aren't being fair to the men. Some deny them access to their own children, and dragging them to court all the time. Maybe somebody got fired and they need to get a new job so they can keep up with child support, putting them in jail if the funds have been delayed. I mean, it's just so disruptful, I think. I really personally, I wish we had our own system, where the black community in America can utilize that works for them. The other thing in Kenya, we don't have foster care. So I'm not sure if that is a part of a development or an underdeveloped world or not. But we don't have foster care. Like I said, the extended family will always soak up the children. It's very rare that a child will be rejected by a grandma or an uncle or an auntie. So if there is an issue, maybe parents pass away or something like that happens, the child is usually taken up by a relative. So we don't find children who are homeless as in such, except when I told you about children that maybe are using drugs, they run away from home, or they are born in the slums where there is just excessive poverty or something like that. We don't also have nursing homes. So one thing about Africa mainly, and in my country, I know that our elders are usually taken care of, once an elder is growing old, there is always somebody who is assigned to the elders, maybe the grandchildren or the last son, the last born son, the youngest son will usually be the one to lead, that stays home and builds his home in the homestead. That way they can be able to take care of the elders. So nursing homes is not something that we know about. I found that out here. So a lot of things were new to me when I came to America. So foster care was one thing, nursing home was another thing I didn't know about, child support was another thing I didn't know about when I came here. And so those are different things that happen in both continents. The other thing I found different, when a child reaches 18 over here in America, they are considered adults. And most of them leave home or are expected to leave home and go take care of their own selves. Well, that's not common back home in Kenya. In Kenya, you can stay as long as you want. There is no expectation that you will leave home until you're done, because at the age of 18, you're basically young and going to college. So you're expected to go to college and come back home until you find a job, a steady job, and that might be even maybe up to 23, 25 is when you find a steady job. So you leave home when you're ready to leave. And some choose to stay home. Some even marry, and they build a home in the compound or in the land that belongs to their family, and they live and life continues. So it is not common to find children being kicked out of homes at 18. All right, so that is different. It's not common to find people having roommates. So that was new to me when I came to the US. Obviously, the cost of living in America is very high and people need to share rooms. So that is not a common concept back home. Obviously, there's no racism. We don't have, the minority is the white people. They are very few. We do have a lot of Indians and Chinese who are coming, but it's very little. So majority of people is black people. So that issue is something that is normalizing and something that the black community in America will find very very healing to be surrounded by their own. Okay, there is no police brutality. So that's another big issue in the first world or in America, where the black community are discriminated against and are experiencing police brutality. That is not something you will find back home. So we don't fear the police. The police are there to help. So that is a very different mentality. Obviously, the policemen look like us. They're black like us. So that is very comforting for the people that the black community that live abroad. It's illegal to own guns for us in back home. So people do not own guns. So black crime is not there. You don't find people drive-by shooting because they don't have guns. So we don't have guns. We don't use them. So in case of security, we have machetes, we have swords, we have we have knives. In case somebody attacks you at your home, that's what you can do. But we do not have guns. So when you travel back to Kenya or to Africa, you leave your guns in America. Okay. Then I found here that the ladies get married so young. So when I was going to college and my classmates were very young girls, maybe 20s, 22, and they were already married. So that was very surprising to me. That is not common back home. Most girls wait until they're done with college, they start working. So people marry around the age of 25, 26 when they're done with college. There are girls that get married at younger, maybe before they go to college or during, but that's not the majority. Okay, so back home in Kenya, it's not easy to find a job without a degree. So that is very different over here. I found out that people get jobs after with a school, maybe high school, after high school certificate. As long as you're 16, you can get a job. So the difference is over here in America, there is a lot of jobs available, and is of course the country is industrialized, so there's a high demand for labor. So they can afford to hire a high school certificate. Back home, a lot of people have degrees, okay? Unfortunately, there's not enough jobs available to soak up all the graduates. So most people either have to go ahead and continue with the master's PhD so they can attract higher paying jobs, or most people end up in business, or most people end up with jobs that are really not that are low paying jobs, which is something that's unfortunate. The good thing about Kenyans is that they are hustlers, and I'm sure this is the same applies to other countries, especially Nigerians. Nigerians are real hustlers. So Kenyans are hustlers, and you'll find that they will start small businesses, and there's free trade. So you'll find people with maybe boutiques or telephone services, or fruit stands, kiosks. So a lot of people have degrees. So one thing about Kenyans is if you speak English, almost everybody is speaking English, almost, because it's an official language and is required in school. So we do all our education in English. Kiswahili is the national language. So if somebody doesn't know English, they definitely know Swahili because they were taught in school, and also they learned it at home. So communication is very easy. If you decide to go to Tanzania, for example, the official language there is Kiswahili. So if you're going to Tanzania, you have to learn Swahili. Otherwise, things are going to be difficult for you. So let's talk about social gathering. That has been a big issue for most of us who came to America, because in Africa and in my country, Kenya, people are very social, very social. There is no time, unless maybe very few times, that you find yourself alone. The family, the nucleus family and the extended family is very well protected, and people gather around each other for many events. So it's very rare that you'll be alone. And that is something that is missing, or something that is lacking. When I came over here, you can spend a whole week by yourself. If you don't go out to go to work and meet other people, because if you live alone and you don't have a roommate and you don't know your neighbors, it's very easy to end up being lonely. And that has become a problem. And I realize that a lot of people are facing depression because they find themselves alone, because everybody's busy. People are working, people have different schedules. So it's not common to just knock on somebody's door and visit just to chat. That is not common here. People just have to here work hard. They work some day and night. Some have 2 jobs, some have 3 jobs, to meet the cost of living, which is high, and to be able to pay bills. And for the men, if they have children, they have to pay child support. If you have a house, you have to pay mortgage, car loans, and stuff like that. So, but it's very easy to be very lonely in America, and it's very easy to be depressed if you are in America. So you just have to take care of yourself and make sure you have a social network. Back home, you don't have a problem. Everywhere you go, there's people. Everywhere. Every person in the village or in the suburban areas knows the neighbor, and people like to gather for lunch, for dinner, So if you're going in Nairobi, which is the capital city of Nairobi of Kenya, during lunchtime the restaurants are full. At dinner, the restaurants are full. On Friday, the bars are full. People are meeting for a drink or just to hang out. So you'll find on Friday everybody's checking on their friends to know where they're hanging out at, where are we meeting after work. So after 5, people just go and hang out and drink or eat or go listen to music. We do have entertainment. So people go out a lot as a group. So it's not easy to find people back home lonely. Very, very hard. People are always congregating for this, that, and the other. The women are meeting to gossip, talking about their husbands, their children. The neighbors are meeting, the girls, the boys are meeting. They are going to play in the village alone, outside. So life in Africa is very sociable. All right. Okay, let me talk about credit cards. Credit cards not common in Africa. In my country, no, it's not common. So you'll find that most people buy everything cash, which is a good thing because they're not stuck with credit. But that also means that if you need to do a project, you have to find a way to raise the money. We do have some cooperative societies that loan you money if you work in the government or if you work in a company. They have their own cooperative or community building fundraiser, so you can be able to benefit from stuff like that. Or sometimes the women meet as a group and they collect monies every month, and then one month they give the money to a person, the next month somebody else. So that's how people survive, But most of the things that people buy, cars, houses, land, is cash. And then don't forget, there is also a lot of people who are unbanked, because we all know the limitations of the banking system. If you don't have regular income, you don't have a job, you don't get a bank account. So that is why everything is cash. So homosexuality, this is a sensitive topic, but I'm just going to tell you the truth or what I know. So far, it's kind of taboo. I hope you understand. It's not something that is practiced openly. I know there is several homosexual men and women, and I know they practice, but they do it secretly. So it is not something that is generally acceptable in Kenya. Last time, I remember Obama asked Uhuru, who is the president of Kenya, about the gay rights. And he told him, he just told him at the moment that is not a problem that the country is facing, and he doesn't see the need to address it. So if you are in that community, that could be an issue. Okay, so let's talk about schools. We have lots and lots of schools. Lots and lots of schools. Very, very expensive schools, private, public schools, boarding schools, day schools, co-ed schools, that means boys and girls. We also have just girls school, boarding schools, boys schools, day or boarding. And then we have primary education, we have secondary education, and then we also have the colleges, the polytechnics and vocational schools. We do have those. And then we have lots of universities. And what they have done, we started out with 4 main universities, but they have branched out. So we have lots of universities that have branched out into the rural and suburban areas to make sure that everybody has access. So for example, you can have the main campus in the capital city, and then what they do is in every city, the little cities, they do have branches, so that every student in each area can access the campus in those locations. So that is very advantageous for the people that are far off from the cities. Also, it decentralizes education so that all people are not congregating in one particular location. So that helps. All right, so we also wear school uniform back home. So you'll find each school has their own uniform. Very interesting to see, and very we're proud of it. I mean, I'm sure this was indoctrinated to us by the British, but people are gotten used to it. At least you can be able to see this student belongs to this school, you know. So, and you can also identify it as a student that is missing out in school. So if you see a pupil in uniform in the village during school time, you know they're supposed to be in school. And as we do, we are a village community, so everybody's responsible for everybody. So a parent will easily take that pupil back to school, or because they know the parent, they might take them back home. So that helps a lot in identifying the students. I remember one time my sister no, actually, I don't even know what happened. It was a story that I was being told way later in life. One of my little sisters had left school. So one parent saw my sister walking with, I don't know if it was a man or a group of people or a woman, I'm not sure. But for some reason, she was on the side of the road walking. So I don't know if she was being kidnapped. They had picked her out from school, or my sister had run away from school, and I don't know what happened. But somebody who identified her took her back to school. So, you know, it could have gone left. So the school uniforms have helped. I think that's a good thing. The colleges the university education is subsidized by the government. So the school loan that we take is not as much as I've seen here in the US. Divorce is not as common as I've seen here in America. You know, when there is a problem in a marriage, it becomes a family issue. So uncles and uncles try to help. You find the elders try to talk, you know. So it's not very easy to find people divorcing. It's not easy, you know. It's a very long process when you start. I don't know if that has become better nowadays, but it used to be a very long process. So divorce is not as common as I've seen here in America. Prisons. Okay. Personally, the only person I've known that has been in prison is one of my uncles, you know. I have not met people of my age or young people that have been in the prison system. We don't, it's here in America is a big deal. It's like a business. It's an industrial complex. We don't have that back home in Kenya. So it's very hard to find young people who are in prison or have a history of being in prison. So that is one disadvantage that I don't like about the American system, and that is one thing the African Americans are suffering from, because they are being jailed for petty crimes, you know, like having weed or small things. You know, you get that the justice system is not fair. Things that the white people get away with, the black people are put in jail for long years. Sometimes they are not even real. Some are innocent, but they are jailed. So it's not something that is good. And I think that is one thing that is making a lot of African Americans want to come home. Drugs are not a big deal. It's not, I have never seen anybody I know back home having issues with drugs. The only problem we have is weed, you know. People like weed, and it's not so common. You know, it's not something that is a big problem in the society. People smoke cigarettes, you know, but a few people do smoke weed, but cocaine and other hard drugs, I haven't seen any of my people, colleagues, friends, or children in the village using those. when we eat meals at home, they're eaten as a family, right? So we have 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner. So dinner is mostly an important meal because everybody is supposed to be at home, and it's a family event. It's a gathering. So that is very different. Over here, I haven't seen families meeting to eat meals. Most people drive through, they eat out, or they buy takeaway. But it's very hard to find families eating over here as a group. It's not something that is common. And then the food is harvested from the shamba or the garden and processed in the kitchen, and we eat it. So we do not have lots of frozen foods. We don't have lots of canned food. Of course, Africa has a tropical climate, so we have the sun January to January, so we can be able to plant our own food the whole year, and also be able to access fresh food from the market all year. So the food is most of the time is organic because you're growing your own, and sometimes you buy from the next door farmer or from the market, but most of the food is fresh. Okay. Most women cook their meals. The woman is something. It's expected that the woman will be cooking the meals. Some men do cook, but not common. It's mainly a woman's job to prepare food and make sure the house management is a woman's business. Not many women want their men in the kitchen unless they've been invited to help. So it's very, over here I found it different because either one, men or women, it's whoever is at home. And of course we understand because here the lifestyle is a business lifestyle. Everybody is working a job, and if your wife is at work, then you cook the meals for the children and you take care of the children, make sure they are washed up and everything. But in traditional African Kenyan community, that's a woman's job. Okay. We don't have a lot of overnight jobs in Kenya, except in the hospital system. So in the main hospitals, maybe the police force, very few jobs do work overnight, maybe some factories, industries, but most people finish their work at 5 and come home. We are still developing, so probably that is an issue, but also security. So we are not moving around at night a lot. Like over here, people work 24/7, some restaurants, even supermarkets here are open 24/7. So you can go shopping anytime. Let's see. As I teach cryptocurrency, because I do have some videos on cryptocurrency, I have told you about digital money. We call it M-Pesa. So a lot of people have a phone and they transact their money on the phone. We call that M-Pesa. Clothing. Our clothes back home are very colorful. And I think that I dropped a video the other day. I was talking about melanin. Melanated people see more colors than non-melanated people. So it is no wonder that we have attires like vitenges, we call kikoi. We do have more colorful African traditional attire. So I believe that is because our colors can accept and can appreciate the colors of all colors, And also, I found out that the clothes back home, they fit better because most of the clothes are made by our own tailors. You just go to a tailor, they make your fittings and give you a clothing. So when I was coming to the US, I thought, I should just leave everything I have back home and I'll come and wear these American beautiful clothes. And when I came, my goodness, most could not fit me because our shapes are different, Most African women have a big behind, right? Big hips and smaller top. And I couldn't find clothes that fit till to date. At the only time I go home, I make my measurements, I make my clothes, and that is how I like. So for those women that are coming abroad from Kenya, bring your clothes. If you're going over there, you'll find plenty of clothes, whether you're white or black. Shoes, obviously, America has all the shoes you can dream about. We have designer shoes, we have sneakers of all kinds. So shoes, America has lots of shoes, and they're not very expensive. Customer service. Over here, labor is expensive, you know that. So don't expect somebody to pump gas for you or to wash your car. Back home, you just stop, they pull your gas into your car, they wash your car, and all you have to do is pay. So over there, labor is cheap. We can afford to hire maids at home. So if you have babies, you get house help and you pay them and you offer them a house, and you have an easier life. You don't have to worry too much about daycare and babysitting and all that. If you can hire a maid, pay them well, and give them housing, then you don't have to worry if your husband and you are going to work. So that is something that most African women miss about being back home, because back home there is house help. There is also farm labor. If you have a farm, you can be able to hire farm labor. If you have an office, you have a secretary, you have a typist, you have people that help you in the office to clean the office, to make your coffee, to prepare your documents. Over here, you have to do a lot of things by yourself. So if you don't know how to drive, you have to know how to drive when you come here. You have to wash your own car. You have to mow your own lawn. You have to do all your house chores. If you're a husband and wife and you have children, you have to work opposite shifts so that one person takes care of the babies when the other one is at work. So you find that marriages here kind of suffer because the husband has to work a different shift. So you are together at home a few days of the week, whereby in Kenya you are at home together every day. So here African marriages have tended to suffer, and I know many marriages have been broken when they came over here. So just be aware that the psychosocial aspect of living abroad can be difficult. It is challenging. It's not easy. And there is advantages, of course. There is advantages of everywhere you go. There's pros and cons. So you just have to choose which one is better for you. Do you prefer a certain place despite the challenges, or would you rather the other place despite the challenges? So it's up to you. Everybody is different. Polygamy, not very common in America. Here, it's kind of like outlawed, or I don't know. It's not common. Back home, people have more than one wife. Maybe traditional marriages, especially, they do polygamy. Personally, I don't know many happy polygamy families, but men do it. They have children, and there is problems that come along with polygamy. We know that. Dress code. The dress code is mainly modest, right? Men dress business casual or business. Like if they're going to work, they will have a suit and tie, or just a shirt and tie. But the lawyers have to do suit and tie. And then when they go to court, is their regalia or whatever, whatever they wear. The ladies are the same thing. Is business casual. One thing about our clothing is mainly programmed by the British, I think. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know why we haven't allowed African attire into offices yet. There was a movement that wanted to have African attire on Fridays, and I don't think it has passed yet. So right now, business casual is fine. The one thing is modest. You will not find women with low-cut shirts showing breasts and stuff. That is something that is not welcome, mainly because, as I have told you, we are all together as a village. Somebody will say something to you, you know. A lady might say something to correct you so that you can dress appropriately. What you don't want is the men on the streets to get to you and correct you, because it can get ugly. So I would encourage you to know, if you're going to Africa, you have to be modestly dressed, at least cover most of your skin. I know in America we have these very, very short shorts, some so short that people can see your butt cheeks. That you cannot go to Africa like that. The boys in the streets will take you down. So they won't molest you or rape you, but they can tell you to fix yourself, and you can really have to go back home and change. But most of the time, the women will correct you before you leave the house, and maybe put a covering around your waist. So to avoid embarrassment, you just have to dress modest. I hope I've covered most of the things I had in mind. If I haven't, if I think of something else, I will slide it in my future videos. Thank you. Have a good one.